Welcome to 28 Days and Beyond.
Where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture.
I'm Amari.
I'm Kharisma. Welcome back.
I was excited to greet the people.
Yeah, I see.
What's up?
I am delightful today. How are you,
That's
sir?
what's up. I'm doing all right myself.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So what are we getting into today?
All right, so check this out.
See, when you start like this,
then,
I feel like I need to brace myself.
You
for
see,
what's
you
to
see
be
the way I
said.
greeted the people. I'm ready for this conversation.
Let me get ready.
Kharisma, you, people don't know. People don't know. They should know. But like you have chosen a creative path in life, right?
Yes.
Have you ever worked a 9 to 5?
No.
Never.
No.
Congratulations.
Well, I mean, I've had like 100 jobs, but it's never been like a 9 to 5. They've always been kind of like, it's always been a different schedule. It's never been like a very regimented. I did once for a very short period of time, and it wasn't a 9 to 5, but it was very regimented, and I drove myself.
It drove you crazy.
A little bit. And I was making great money.
Yeah,
But
your soul doesn't have a price, though.
It doesn't.
Okay?
It doesn't.
So one of the things, all right, we're experiencing a generational shift, right? My dad worked at, he actually has worked 2 careers, right? He retired from one and then worked another one. My mom has worked all at the same place. So when I was, coming out of school, they're like, get you a job and stay in it. And it's like, that's actually not the case, right? Most people stay in a job for about 2 to 5 years, I think is what they're saying.
Well, now.
Nowadays. So this is a generational thing. But the fact is it's a much more competitive job market where now people are looking for other factors outside of just education, right? So what kind of creative skills do you bring to the situation? How are you at handling problem solving and things like that? But also, there still is a culture of professionalism within the job market. My question or concern is, are we encouraging our young folks to become job seekers or job creators?
That's a valid question.
Not everybody is meant to. There are people who thrive in a 9 to 5 situation, right? Like my dad says, I just want to show up and go home and make sure that my check is there. I don't want to be in the position of entrepreneurship. So today, I want us to talk about this. We're joined by Marquis Coates, who works with young folks graduating from college and preparing them for that job market. And I want to ask them some of the tough questions.
I cannot wait.
about job creation versus, job seeking, if you will. So we'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond. Welcome back to 28 Days and Beyond. We're joined now by Marquis Coates. What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Nice to be on the show.
Hey, it's great to have you. Yeah. You are a man of many hats. Break down for us what because you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I run a nonprofit organization in Philly called Tools for Success, where we do a lot of mentorship and career development for youth in the city. So I started that in 2012, so we've been going pretty strong. I also work at Villanova. I work as a retention coach and a program coordinator. I also teach at the university for an online course called Vocation to Public Service, and just many hats, man. So definitely a lot, man.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of the things we were talking about before you joined us was, the fact that are all of our young people being prepared for jobs and careers versus being prepared to start their own. So what is your take on the idea of entrepreneurship versus like the normal kind of 9 to 5?
Right. I think both are necessary. I think that, getting job experience is important because it helps you build skills and learn things, even if it's volunteering. But I'm also a big proponent of entrepreneurship. I think that we should teach young people how to learn the skills that they need to be able to, make their own money. And to be able to use creativity and innovation, especially the age we live in now, with social media, technology. I mean, it's open game for entrepreneurship. So I really think that both are needed, but I think getting initial experience in the job market is important because, sometimes it's easy to learn skills from somebody that you work for first and then branch off and then do your own thing, whether it's an internship, things like that. I'm not saying you have to have a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life, but I think getting those initial skills, unless you just decide you got this great idea at 4 years old, and you just like, yo, I'm an entrepreneur from 6, and you know, and I, you know, so that's how it is. So you know, then you can just do your thing. But but I think, you know, we learn skills along the way. So
so you had mentioned you know, tools for success. So what are some of those tools? If you could give away the secret, you know,
secret
sauce,
sauce, man.
Exactly.
So some of those tools, I mean, I think that definitely, well, we talked about this, but mentorship is important. Getting under people who can help show you the way. Reading, you know, enlightening your mind about opportunities and things that you want to do. Studying the game, as they say, you know, looking at people who are doing, you know, some of the work and things that you may want to do, but also just education in general, educating yourself in the field that you want to get into, and also too, connections, like making connections, like connecting, networking with people, getting out there, you know, getting dressed, going to networking events, you know, going to career opportunities or finding career opportunities where you can meet people and start building relationships. So I think that's important.
Do you implement some of those kind of activities with the programs that you do and work for?
Yes, so we do. We teach a lot of career readiness stuff, but we also do a summer camp, which is called career camp. Nice. So we bring in professionals. We teach kids about job readiness skills. We allow them to do college tours. We also allow them to be exposed to various careers, and so we take them to like you know, different businesses, whether they're local. Or, you know, kind of in the area, and then we just allow them to learn from CEOs and things like that. So it expands their mind, like, wow, you know, like a couple years ago, we took them to like one of the largest print t-shirt companies in Philadelphia. And this is an organization that makes t-shirts for Sneaker Villa, you know, a lot of major, you know, outlets. And so the kids were like, wow, this is where the t-shirts are made. But then just hearing the entrepreneurship mind behind the CEO was like, wow, you know, I could really do this. But then also seeing people that were working. So we do that, and on the flip side, we also do the job readiness skills, teaching them about mock interviews, or having them go through mock interviews and teaching them about resume writing. And so being able to have that duality of, you know, yes, if I need to get a job, I'm prepared to do it, but also too, I want to be creative enough to create my own thing, you know, if need be. So,
I'm curious to see what have been the responses. What are some of the trends that you see amongst the young folks at your work, specifically the high school age students? Like, what are some of what are the dispositions to these ideas?
Well, they're very, very. Everybody wants to be a boss. You know, the high school kids. You know, the age we live in, the pop culture. You know, the hip hop culture. You know, everybody wants to own their own thing and do their thing, and I think it's great. So I do think we need more spaces where we can teach young people about entrepreneurship. And they need to learn from people, but we can't negate the fact that they have to learn other just regular skills that we've learned as coming up as young adults to get a job, you know, because, you know, I think in some sense, you know, we don't want to spoil them with the idea that it's just going to be easy to start a business right out of high school when you don't, you know, you haven't had any other skills that you've acquired. So I think we have to kind of, find that balance to say, hey, listen, we want you to be creative, start your t-shirt business, and give them the opportunity to do it. I know kids right now that have t-shirt companies, lemonade stands. Allow them to be entrepreneurs, and especially in the African-American community where we don't own a lot. You know, so I think it's important that we definitely push our kids to entrepreneurship, but at the same time, allow them to be able to do the job piece as well.
Well, we definitely want to hear more, but we have to take a break.
Okay, great.
So we'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond right after this.
And we're back with more 28 Days and Beyond. Marquis, before the break, you know, you said that a lot of these high school kids, they just want to be bosses, man. First of all, I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I also appreciate you clarifying, because when I hear these things like, you know, career readiness and preparation and success, what I have often seen in the past is really what that means is, how are you going to make yourself presentable so that white folks will give you a job, right? And what you're talking about, I mean, because one, I think that to put something in place that will nourish that entrepreneurial intent, right? They just want to be a boss, while also grounding them with the practical skills that are necessary to get yourself to that level. I think that's really commendable, man. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Because
and to your point, I think a lot of that is true. I don't think there's a lot of that balance, right? It's usually like one thing or another.
Absolutely.
And then I've been seeing like a new wave of people who have become entrepreneurs who are now like doing workshops and things like that, but there's not necessarily, like, those aren't things that are taught, like, even in school. Like, I remember, like, the career center and all that stuff, but all of it was structured so that you could, you know, hand somebody a resume and say, pick me, this is the stuff I've done, these are the internships I've done, you know what I mean? Which is stressful in itself, but for people that have that entrepreneurial mindset, or people that want to try something different, there needs to be safe places and people that they can bounce those ideas off of, for sure.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we have to teach them the balance, you know, options, you know, right? So you can do both.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, in this age that we live in, like I said, with social media, social engagement, you know, you could be a millionaire overnight, you know, with one idea, one live video, you know, one social media impression or something like that. So I think it's important to, and plus they get more engaged with that because that's their culture, you know what I mean? To teach them just specifically about, you know, getting a job, but not teaching them all the nuances behind, and also what they're connected to on a daily basis, the hip hop culture, the, you know, the pop culture, so they see this. And then they grew up in an era where kids are 18-year-old billionaires. So, like, you know, we didn't see that coming up. You know, we didn't see that coming up. We didn't see any billionaires. You know, we didn't know you could become a millionaire overnight, you know, by one idea, or, you know, and now companies are looking to brand, you know, ideas, because we live in such this social entrepreneur space. So I think it's important to give them both sides. And not everybody attaches to it. Some kids, you know, they go right into it and boom, that creativity kicks in. And then other students are more like, you know, the traditional kind of, you know, I want to get a job, I want to be a lawyer, and that's cool. Let's give them options.
Well, and I think that's important to acknowledge, because first of all, not everybody's going to be, everybody can't be an entrepreneur,
That's right. That's right.
And there are people who have skill sets. So if you say, you know, you want to be an accountant, obviously you can maintain a business, but you're going to need to be able to work with other people and do those things. And it's important to sort of cultivate all those different skill sets. One, through exposure. Some people don't even know you can go down this path. So it sounds like the work that you're doing is exposing to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just.
How does that change, if at all, to when you get to students who are coming out of college?
Yeah, it's a little different in college because students pretty much have a set career path that they want to choose. So in that sense, it's really about, for me, making connections with them, allowing them to connect with people. And there's also entrepreneurship is there too. Like your business students and things like that, but you have students who are like, I'm going to be a doctor, you know, I'm going to the medical field and be a nurse. But it doesn't mean you can't sit in an entrepreneur seminar either, you know, and learn different ways, you know, but everybody doesn't have that niche like we talked about. But I think for us, it's more or less allowing them to get connected to mentors and resources where they can see their career path already and somebody that's operating successfully in it, and then take that as an example to say, hey, I'm going to follow that. So that's kind of the work that I do on a college level.
And you know what else I'm starting to see a lot more of? Even people that are into traditional job or career spaces, I'm seeing them kind of branch off and do their own thing and kind of turn that into its own entrepreneurship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm seeing a lot more psychologists and like doctors that are doing things and branding themselves through social media and creating their own practices and doing things like that, just by using the power of word of mouth and the internet, and getting in these spaces where people that have clout or you know, a big following are able to expose other people to the work that they do. So that's a powerful tool as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think we're living in like a major social entrepreneurial you know, era where, you know, you could pretty much, you know, take your 9-to-5 job and spin it off and do your own thing. You know, I know I keep using that terminology, but really, I mean, I see people who have worked in careers for 10 and 20 years who are now saying, you know what, I like this, but I can start my own nurse practice on the side as well, right? And help the elderly, and now I can monetize, you know, the creative space that I had when 30 years ago. I didn't know you could be an entrepreneur in this space. So now parents are even saying, like, yo, you know, how can I get, you know, how can I utilize these skills?
So, I mean, part of that also was because of the shifts in the sort of economic era or economic order. Where it's like, you better have a side hustle.
You better have a side hustle. That's the word right there, side hustle. Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll be back with more 28 Days and Beyond.
And we're back with 28 Days and Beyond. Amari, I have something to share with you, my friend.
Okay.
When I was little, I actually wanted to be a doctor. I did.
Thank you.
Instead of my normal, like, you know, all over the place, not working 9 to 5.
You wanted to be
actually,
a doctor.
I did. I wanted to be a doctor. And then my cousin hit her head, and there was a lot of blood.
I'm about to say, you realized you were scared of blood.
And I realized it wasn't for me.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
And because my goal was to be like a doctor, but then also to like sing to my patients.
Yeah, Doc McStuffins.
And I was gonna like bring them back to health with my voice.
Yep.
But then, you know, I followed a
Blood.
different path.
Blood.
Well, yeah, because blood. I was
Blood,
like, oh
yeah.
no. I'm hyperventilating and she had a hole in her head. But I
Yeah.
digress. I say all that to say,
Yeah.
sometimes we start out on a path
Clearly.
and we find something else.
Yep.
And I think that's the beauty of like where we are as a society in general. I think people are more in tune with what they want to do and what's going to bring them happiness.
Yeah.
And I think that's why more people are trying different career paths. But we have to give people free spaces. What? Why are you laughing?
I was just thinking about one. First of all, thank you for sharing that
You're
story.
welcome.
Clearly, this was like, I guess I'm your therapist now.
You
felt
are.
like you had to share that.
You have been for a
Well,
while.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's definitely exposure. That's like, we got to be exposed to things. I used to want to be a lawyer.
Really?
Because I thought it was TV.
I could see that.
Come on, man.
Because you.
Saying, I got an expansive vocabulary.
Yes.
I like to argue.
And you like to argue.
Exactly.
I was about to say, you like to argue.
But then they were like, I talked to a lawyer. He was like, hey, you know, it's not like on TV. Like, it's really boring. I was like, what? You know, you're out of order. No, you're out of order. Ladies and
It's-
gentlemen, I want to do all that. And they were like,
You're
that's not how it
just
goes.
Sitting in court.
Exactly.
all
And then there's a
day.
whole bunch of reading, and, like paperwork and stuff like that. The point is, though, yeah, exposure and so on. But I really appreciated, you know, what Marquis was saying, because we're going to nurture what you aspire to be while also holding down very practical skills that will
Yeah.
serve you in the here and now.
That makes sense.
I think that's really important. And it's not just predicated, as we were talking about, on, hey, look at me, I'm good, please accept me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're trying different things. We're putting ourselves in the position to basically write our own ticket.
And I wish I had, you know, something like, you know, the programs that Marquis was talking about
Yeah.
when I was in school, because, you know, I went to school, I double majored in communications and English, minored in psych, knew I didn't want a 9 to 5, knew I wanted to do something creative, but there was no one other than just the support
Yeah.
system of my
Yeah, yeah,
family
yep.
to kind of bounce those, you know, ideas off of and figure out what that path was going to look like for me.
And luckily you come from a supportive and creative family, because
do.
otherwise, you know, there are other people that
Right.
we know who they just basically squash
And you
that.
gotta figure it out.
Exactly, you just gotta figure it out. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a tough place to be.
It's a rock in a hard place.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, this has been another episode of 28 Days and Beyond.
Where we talk about our history, our heritage, and our culture. We'll see you next time.